All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Hannah Gant, and I am here with Ashley Norris and Marissa Gant for our weekly live hangout. This is Com One, Com All. Always excited to be here with you, ladies, and engaging in a range of topics that kind of encompass our interest area and our work with Com One Com All, which is very much about providing resources, discussion, and tools and ideas and questions and reflections that help people to get grounded and become kind of like have a stronger sense of themselves and kind of like anchored in this belief that when you do that work on yourself, it has a ripple effect, and that's part of that kind of like Com One, Com All. We're also obviously trying to bring people together under that idea of kind of working on yourself, personal development, spiritual development, finding your sense of purpose, who you are, and we're really enjoying this time together, and in this month of December, kind of have this theme of kind of gift giving and experiences as gifts, and are going to be highlighting some different people and kind of online products as part of a kind of a conscious gift guide. So look forward to that, and to having Marissa kind of speak with us today as one of our first guests in this theme of gifts as experiences, to talk with us about some of the work that you've been doing with grief tending. So that's kind of what's going on today. And I guess I should.
Are you going to introduce her right away?
Well, I was just going to ask you guys how you do. Well, I know I want to interact a little bit, and then I can share my story. But yeah, tell me a little bit about what's going on with you, Ashley.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to be here, and I am excited to learn about more about grief tending, and also about other people or experiences that people who are listening tonight might be thinking about when it comes to how to think a little bit more consciously about the way that you can consider the holiday, because everyone has been going through a lot of transitions. So feel free to post in our comment in our chat room. We're definitely checking it out. And if you have any other ideas for other experiences that you might consider to be more like conscious and more experiences as gifts. But yeah, I think I'm just excited to talk about how to not think about like the constant bombardment of media and information that is like asking you to buy this and asking you to buy that. Like I spent 2 hours clearing out one of my inboxes the other day, and I just kind of got sucked down this rabbit hole of like, just power through it, you could do it. And I couldn't realize how long it took. And like 90% of them had to be just things selling me stuff, just telling me about the different discounts and boots and different gear that I could buy. And I'm just like, it's just like aggravating to see it all the time. So I feel like, talking about things that we could do to make our lives better instead, not just material possessions, but also, how we feel about all the things that we've gone through, and just kind of thinking about other people too. Like there might be somebody I know that I lean on my friends a lot when I'm going through things. I like to call people, go for walks with my friends, and just kind of like, it's like my therapy in a sense. And so I think that experiences can also be like a form of therapy where you're taking your mind away from the present. You're taking your mind away from all the social media and all of the information that, consume me and things like that. So it's just relieving to be able to like be around you guys for a little while and actually be able to talk about stuff other than what's being thrown at me constantly, you know? It's refreshing. That's why I'm here tonight.
Yeah, and for me, I do feel like we are in transformative times, and I think Hannah and Ashley share that same belief that I do. And so these holidays, these important kind of memorable experiences that we have with our family and friends and community, this has been a changing year, and the holidays offer a time where one can think about what traditions, what ways that one wants to share the holidays with other people. And you know, gift giving has been something that has been kind of put on a pedestal and is one of the highlights of the holidays, and yet all of us have so much stuff. And I know a number of people in my family, for instance, that it's really hard to buy for. So I think it's a great time to really think about and challenge, you know, the notion of what kind of gift can one give another person, and the notion of an experience or something that gives a person a chance to become even more thriving is really, I think, what all of us are yearning for at a deeper level. So we're kind of excited to just talk about this notion of gift giving and how to inspire more reflection about it, and to open up the idea of experience gifts and things that are non-material that you can get your loved ones this season.
And I would just add that, like, I was just thinking about gifts I used to get my mom, and like my like kind of behind the doors way of trying to get my mother to eat healthier. An example of it might be to get her like a vegetarian cookbook, and like the intention's there, but like, is she ever gonna use it? Like, is she really gonna open up that cookbook one day and cook something different? Maybe, maybe not. But I think an experience is something that is like, it's more inviting. It's like, you know, it's more than just something that's gonna sit on someone's shelf and collect dust. So yeah, I think that that's kind of where I've been headed with my gift giving lately, is to think about like how to give somebody something that's not going to sit on their desk, but also like is like super functional or something that they need. Like I was thinking about getting her air fryer cookbook, because I hope she's not watching this right now, but she was like, you know, I really could use more recipes in the air fryer, and I'm like, But that still to me is an experience in a way, because you know, she'd be cooking with it, but whether or not she'll ever use it, who knows. But that's kind of the gift giving I tried to be over the years.
Yeah, and I think, you know, part of what we're about with Come On, Come All is really trying to inspire, you know, people to grow and stretch into their best selves, you know, and be, you know, kind of be a leader in that way. And so I know that, you know, when you look at the range of options of gifts and experiences that you can give, you know, we're looking at and kind of have are trying to offer up to people some like ready to go choices in that realm. And I know, you know, something that is just super, super topical, you know, for everyone because of what's happening with the pandemic is, you know, this need for kind of processing loss. You know, I know that, you know, I personally have not, I'm going to say yet, lost someone due to the COVID, but my life has been absolutely, it's just changed dramatically. And so, loss happens in multiple ways. And for me, I actually, I have a restaurant business, and my industry is one of the ones that is hardest hit by what's happening. And I don't know if my business is going to make it. It's like my that struggle is very real for me. And so I love, I love like some of what Marissa has been doing with the grief tending work, to help people, individuals and groups, to kind of to process loss. I don't know, or like Ashley, or like I'm pretty sure your life has changed because of and that you've been kind of going through, processing some of that as well.
Yeah. Which one should I choose? It's just like, there's so many things changing in 2020. It's kind of insane. And the biggest one is probably work related, just, working from home every day now, and not being in the office and seeing people every day. That was huge. And then basically deciding that I was going to spend my extra flexibility of not having to be in the office every day, and not having a 9-to-5 like I used to, basically using that time to go farming this summer. And that was a total flip of what I've ever experienced before. And that was by choice, but definitely. And then coming back to Milwaukee, and kind of figuring out my pace again regarding working from home, and finding that schedule, finding that rhythm, and that comfort with solitude. Because I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned is I'm way more of a social creature than I gave myself credit for.
Right. Right. I think a lot of people realize that. I mean, even like the introverts and people who like time alone, this is just, it's unprecedented.
Yeah.
We are, humans are social creatures. So,
yeah, I've noticed just like wanting to talk to everyone now. Like whenever I have the chance to have small talk, I'm like, small talk. Your dog is adorable. Let's talk about it for 3 minutes instead of just like saying hello. But anyways, but yeah, so that I would say is one of the biggest things, and that's definitely not the only major transition I've been through this year so far. But and I think that staying grounded and focusing on being present has really helped me get through a lot of it. So I would say that would be like the number one thing that I've learned. But taking the time to have rituals where I might be able to bring myself back to center, or even just going for walks outside, or walking with friends like I had mentioned. Those are all things that I've been trying to do more of, to not basically go crazy inside this house. So crazy, I shouldn't say crazy, just a little on the edge.
Yeah, but I think we talk about this because it's kind of common, and I think a lot of people can empathize with it. It's normal to feel this way, and even though you might find yourself alone, there's ways in which there's ways and there's resources out there to connect with people and to talk about how you're doing and how you're feeling, and to process the changes in your life or the loss that you maybe experience of like people who you've been close to, because we are experiencing an unprecedented number of passings because of what's happening with COVID. And so Marissa, can you tell us a little bit about grief tending and kind of what motivated you to start this, and what actually it is that you've got underway?
Yeah. So this is something that really got going because of my friend Liz Smith, who reached out, and she had attended some different workshops that I had put on, and we have had a friendship and shared interest in energy work. And she had been noticing just how many people were talking about this time and kind of hoping to get back to a new normal, and or to find a new normal, and or really interested in things going back to the way that they were. And she really felt and still feels that what was our economy and the way that we were living our lives individually and collectively was not sustainable in a lot of ways, and it was not healthy for individuals and for the planet. And so part of the work to kind of let oneself just relax and be comfortable with all the changes and shifts on a deeper level is to really confront that grief that is held, and digest it, and face it, and look at some of those feelings that may want to be worked through in order to let go and to be able to bring in the new. So we talked about it and felt that we wanted to call people into this experience, into a ceremony where we would hold a ritual and invite people to name their grief and be able to look at grief not only through journaling about it and talking to some other people within that ceremony, but also to move one's body, to have a body experience, and to do an energetic clearing as part of an invitation for whatever grief is ready to let go of it. So we have one coming up on Thursday at 7 to 9 Pacific Standard Time, and love for any and all to join us. This is really beautiful work, and something that Liz and I spent about 3 months planning. And it just in terms of us coming to the end of a year, this is really a great time as well to think about what grief am I carrying, because of so many of the changes, like what Hannah and Ashley both talked about, that may be inhibiting me from moving forward or really growing into my potential as much as possible. So going through this kind of experience can be one of the helpful means in which to work through some of that grief and be able to move forward in a more powerful, embodied way. And I would also add that, there's a lot of cultures that view grief as a communal practice and something that should not be held just by an individual, or something that is carried out behind closed doors. That the San people of the Kalahari Desert, they have a ritual 4 times a month where they come together and do an all-night healing ritual. That's just part of their practice of wellness. And the Jewish people observe a year of mourning with different kinds of rituals to really after someone passes, just allowing all those loved ones the space and the understanding that it's not something that one just moves on from. So there's many different cultures that have a practice of really honoring grief. And I would say, in our American modern culture, a lot of us are really pushed to move on or process behind closed doors, or not kind of stuff in your emotions and leave it just to process at a therapist, rather than something that a community can help one another process and hold space for the grief that person is experiencing, because all of us in one form or another go through grief, and it really can, leaning into it can be a transformative experience working with it. So I feel like I just said a lot.
I was thinking of the Jewish term for sitting with the dead for 7 days. And it's called sitting Shiva. And I've actually been to a couple, or at least one Jewish funeral. And it's just really interesting to see the differences in the cultures and the way that like people observe their mourning. And I think it's really good to have that like ritual or practice where you're honoring someone, and it's based in a faith of some sort traditionally, but I think especially as I get older and I feel myself not really associating with the religion I was raised in as much, I struggle to think about like how I would want to be mourned, because, which is a very sad thing to think about, but again, I'm a Cancer, so I think about dark things sometimes, sitting in my feelings. But yeah, like, cause how would you, in a more, if you have grown as a person into something different, and you want to be honored or mourned in a different way, like, I think that would be kind of interesting to think of a perspective to think about, like, how do you celebrate someone's life more in a more spiritual way, or things like that. And I think that some of the items that you have for availability for your services are good examples of different ways to celebrate someone's life, or to, especially during the pandemic, to be able to still get together with your friends and family to discuss and work through that practice of mourning in a time when unprecedented. I remember when the pandemic first started, people weren't even allowed to go see their dead because of everyone was afraid that people would contact the virus, and they didn't want anyone gathering together. And now with all the cases spiking and things like that, it's like, how do you safely honor life or grieve when you're separated from your loved ones, and if you're wanting to do something a little bit different than what your grandmother might have done or something like that.
Yeah, and I want to expressly, check in with the people who are tuned in, kind of watching us. We decided to do a live stream, kind of hangout on the regular, so that we could interact and engage a larger group of people. So, how is it that you guys are processing, the changes in your life, or like the loss of loved ones? What feels like healthy to you guys? Be very interested, to hear that, because, to just, to reword some of what I heard Marissa, talking about, is that, I feel like our society, our culture, like, it views grieving as a sign of weakness. When you show your pain, and so we don't do it, especially the men in our lives. And I feel like it's a type of constipation is what is created, and within this kind of sphere of calm one, calm all, getting grounded, becoming your best self, like that only happens if you do the work, if you work, process the shit, instead of hold it in. So
I liked where you went with that. That was really
yeah, I just needed to add that metaphor into the mix. You know, so to prevent constipation, process your shit. You know, grieve openly, let it flow. And you're welcome. So, but yeah, I mean, seriously, it's just it's critically important. Our society doesn't really know how to do it, and helping people do it is part of certainly Marissa's life calling. So, you know, I know, you know, I attended the grief ceremony that you and Liz facilitated last month, and found it to be a really special experience. You know, intimate, you know, with myself. And it's so helpful to have other people ask questions that you may not be asking yourself, and open up that kind of conversation. So thank you. And I, you know, encourage people to kind of check that out this Thursday, and you can, you know, register on our com1comal.com website, or check out Facebook. I think there's a link there as well. But coming up, you have some other experiences within grief tending that you're starting to launch on. So you want to tell us a little bit about what those are beyond this grief ceremony?
Sure. Yeah. I'm also beginning to offer life celebration and memorial packages. It's sessions that are ones in which, because we can't gather in groups of people together, this is an online memorial or celebration for someone that has passed. So it's just so important that there is some kind of ritual or some kind of means in which to gather and share with loved ones when someone has passed. And so I also believe that you know, it's important to hold these in a way that is open to all faiths, and that really speaks to each person as a spirit and a community member. And so this is another form of gathering together to share and process grief. So that's one offering. And another is just doing smaller group grief tending circles. So, you know, another form of gathering. So the ceremony is you know, for anyone that comes, but there may be instances where a person wants to gather their friends and family together to help them with a struggle that they're encountering that is bringing a lot of grief into their life. And so instead of this person, you know, whether it be a job loss or an animal loss, or, you know, a loss of a loved one, there's lots of forms of loss. So being able to gather with people that care about that person, and sharing and having that be a facilitated experience where that person can felt held, and the other people can also give but receive as part of going through that experience together. This, to a certain degree, this kind of experience is something that as a human race, our ancestors processed grief in this way. So this is in many ways returning to our true roots to be able to gather as a community and do this processing together. So, and then
yeah, I just want to interrupt you, Marissa, and say, it sounds almost like kind of like a group therapy session.
Yeah.
And I know, you don't want to call it that for obvious reasons, but, it's a shame that we don't have a good structure in place for people to get a therapeutic experience, outside of seeing a therapist,
Yeah, it's one thing that I've given thought to in terms of, we used to have kind of a spiritual guide in our community, or someone that looked after the wellness of ourselves as a whole, like a doctor or shaman. And with our modern culture, everything is so specialized, and we go to this person for that thing and this other person for this other thing. And we don't have people in our communities that hold the wholeness of who we are. So I feel like more going forward, there will be more healers and practitioners that are working on this space, trying to work on a whole person and honor, the all the different parts of that person, and also honor that, these experiences that we go through individually are also much shared by the community. And so let's come together and feel whole also in a communal setting, in working through some of the life challenges that we go through.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like kind of it's creating a safe space to normalize, feeling your feelings. I think a lot of people, when you are alone, and just, you can feel like not yourself or kind of alien. But if you're, hearing from other people around you who you're close with, that they're kind of going through the same thing, that can be really powerful.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely. I just added to the chat room because I didn't want to interrupt you. And I definitely think normalizing feeling your feelings would be amazing. And I think that it's totally natural. And I think if people had a better way to express themselves, there probably would be a lot less violence in the world.
Definitely.
Would be able to just, manage their anger issues in a healthier way. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't think of, when we on this theme of like gifts and experiences, like, I don't think that, an individual doesn't necessarily have to have experienced a tremendous loss to pull their friends together. It's like, we're all going through something. If this is an experience that that you want to host with a friend group that you can circle up, that is what's on offer. Having a facilitator like Marissa, you're really steeped in this. I mean, tell us a little bit about your background in grief and rituals and leading groups of people. This isn't just something that you're passionate about, it's something that you're also practiced at, correct?
Yeah. So with regard to leading circles, I've been doing this kind of work since 2015. And it started off with seasonal health gatherings that I had studied and became a Ayurvedic wellness counselor. And I really came to recognize the power of nature and nature's seasonal shifts, and how that can inspire all of us to make shifts in our lives. And so that kind of started me on a path of holding circles, which is people just gathering in a ritualized space to be able to talk about what they're experiencing and learn and do group work. And so I also have studied with Denise Lin, energetic space clearing, that basically learning tools and different practices
really cool stuff
for holding ritual. I'm currently finishing a Wild Women leadership circle training, so that's kind of taking me deeper on circle work. But I also hold a certain foundation with intuitive work, having studied at Berkeley Psychic Institute for a couple years. And so tapping into intuition and supporting other people in making that connection and harnessing that connection is also apparent in my work. So and just on a personal level, having gone through the experience of losing my father a year and a half ago, Hannah and I's father, that really was an intimate, journey with grief that has inspired me with, I think once Liz reached out to me with this idea of how can we help people with the grief they're experiencing, it just really kind of clicked for me and felt like part of what I wanted to do. So that answers a bit of your question.
Yeah, definitely. So I know that you've already done a life celebration, and you've certainly hosted some circles, but you're also you're thinking about offering a grief ritual workshop, and also you mentioned the energetic clearings.
Yeah, so the grief ritual workshop is more of a opportunity for people to come and name their grief and be able to have a chance to really have space to reflect on what grief has really showed up for them in this past year, and to do some processing around it, kind of some reflection and journal work, and also learn a bit about ritual, so that people are more equipped and have some resources available to them, especially as they start the new year. Because, we are at where we're at with stay-at-home orders and COVID, but who's to say what other challenges and more losses all of us may experience. So, it's kind of a muscle that I feel all of us really need to work on. And so this is a, easy way to kind of fast track some of that learning. And then the energetic clearing is more of a one-on-one type of experience, where if someone feels like they're stuck and have done a lot of personal development work and done what processing that they can do around grief and things that feel like they're weighing them down, then this is kind of an intuitive, energetic means in which I can support people in really clearing out and resetting their space, so that they can really move through it in a guided experience.
That's cool. And so, as we had mentioned earlier, the reason why we wanted to bring Marissa on as a guest is to promote her services as potential experiences that you could offer to your family, friends, or to even for yourself. If you feel like this is something that you would like to learn more about, definitely check out our website, calm1calmall.com. And also we will be doing some promotions this week to kind of promote Marissa this week, and next week we will be promoting a different service and a different guest. But right now, check out the website. Everything is on sale at a discounted price to try to get everyone excited about different gifts that you can give for the holidays. And then after that, those offerings and services will still be available, right, Marissa? They're just not going to be at the sale price. But so if you're not quite ready yet to make a decision, that's totally fine. This isn't like an exclusive limited time offer of the services, but we're just trying to offer her services at a discounted rate at this point in time, in a way of saying that we appreciate all the work that you're doing and that we're acknowledging you as a very conscious gift to be giving people for the holidays.
Yeah, and one of the other things that, thank you, Ashley. One of the other things that I feel excited about to a certain degree is because all of us have had more time alone. This is really a chance to connect with oneself more deeply and to do some of the hard work at looking at oneself and how one is growing and how one can be an even more powerful spirit here, you know, in this world. And so I feel like it is something to embrace, the shadow and the dark work as much as the light work, in regards to it can really bring about some wonderful fruit for everyone. And it's not as scary as one thinks, you know, and it really can make your life so much happier and more fulfilling to really explore this terrain. So thank you both for giving me this opportunity to share more about grief tending and what I do and explain it a bit further. It's been fun being a part of this call tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I'm glad we were able to have you tonight. Thank you for joining us on our Hangout. And as Hannah mentioned earlier, we will be doing weekly Hangouts, Mondays, 7 p.m. Central Time. I know you guys always repping that East Coast and that Pacific Coast, but 7 p.m. Central Time. Feel free to tune in. We'll be here next Monday. And as we mentioned earlier, if you're interested in attending a grief ceremony with Marissa, that will be this Thursday. More information can also be found on the website, calm1calmall.com. And otherwise, feel free to check out our Conscious Gift Guide on the website as well for potential other ideas for experiences that you could gift yourself or your loved ones this holiday season. Thank you for joining us.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice to talk with you guys.
Likewise.
Cool. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.